Okay, shalom everybody. Today we'll talk about the congregation's conduct during the Torah reading and also basically closing up with the last paragraph, which talks about other things relating to the congregation. So it is forbidden to leave the synagogue from the beginning of the Torah reading until its conclusion. We haven't discussed yet when you are allowed to leave on a day that we don't read the Torah reading. I'll just tell you that there's two opinions. The Shulchan Aruch is of the opinion that after Aleinu, and that's why Nusach Ashkenaz it says Shir Shayom after Aleinu instead of before, like the Sephardim do. And the Shulchan Aruch and the Rama says that you can leave after Uval Tzion, after the Kaddish Uval Tzion, because that Kaddish is a Kaddish Titkaba, which basically says, Hashem, please accept all of our prayers. So, from the beginning of Torah reading specifically, because it's disrespectful, even someone who already heard the Torah reading is forbidden to leave. So let's say he was in a shtibel and he already heard it in a different minyan, or he was there for a bar mitzvah and he already davened earlier in the day. If one does leave, he offends the respect of the Torah. Of him it is written in Isaiah, those who abandon God will perish. One who must leave, such as a person whose only ride to work is about to depart, is permitted to leave between aliyot, for then the Torah scroll is closed and the offense to the respect of the Torah is minimal, and also most likely people will know why he's leaving. In principle, there is no obligation to stand throughout the Torah reading, though there are some who enhance the mitzvah by standing, just as all Jews stood at Mount Sinai. That was my father's minhag, and I tried to do it. But when they start repeating aliyot or for maftir or otherwise, that's when I sit, and also between the aliyot I sit if I'm seeing that there's mishaberachs, etc. Some are strict to stand when answering Baruch Hashem, Baruch Hashem, Baruch Olam Ed, responding to the Oleh, since it is a matter of sanctity, and the recital of a matter of sanctity requires that one stands. According to many, it is unnecessary to stand when the Torah is being read, and that is how the Shulchan Aruch rules. The Ari HaKadosh was also accustomed to sit throughout the whole reading, even when Baruch Hu was recited, so he would rise up slightly like we do for an important person or a Torah scholar. And indeed, this is the custom in many Sephardic and Ashkenazic synagogues. From the time the Torah scroll is opened to be read, the people in the congregation are forbidden to talk to one another, even concerning matters of halacha. And there is an opinion which permits a few brief words of Torah between the aliyot, provided that the exchange does not continue into the brachot or Torah readings. So we're not talking about the gabbai or a rabbi explaining what the following aliyah will be, but rather, you saw something amazing in Rashi, or you noticed something and you want to share it with the person sitting next to you. As long as you don't continue into the blessings or the Torah reading, it is permitted. Some say that it is even forbidden to talk matters of Torah in between aliyot, and that it is only permitted to learn alone at that time. If it is good to be strict concerning this, because if people start to talk about matters of Torah, it will be hard to stop when the person called up begins to recite the blessing. So that's just practical advice. It is permissible for a rabbi to answer an urgent question in the breaks between the aliyot. Gabayim are also permitted during the breaks to talk about essential matters that are pertinent to the prayer service. When there's no other option, it is permitted for a rabbi to answer questions even at the time of the Torah reading. So let's say that somebody's having a medical situation and it's during the Torah reading, and they need to ask the rabbi, should we call the ambulance or should we call the police? In Israel, it's 3 different numbers also for fire trucks. So I think that's what he's talking about. So it's matters of halacha that cannot wait until the end of the aliyah. Likewise, the Gabayim are permitted to talk about pressing issues which demand immediate attention. For example, how to avoid insulting one of the people praying who expects to be given an aliyah. So maybe somebody came and he's the father of one of the people who is a regular, and he every time that he comes to visit, which is only a few times a year, he expects to get an aliyah. But then there's a off roof, or there's a bar mitzvah, or there's a bris, and so they're trying to navigate. So they can talk between the aliyot about how to make sure that nobody is insulted. And we talked a little bit more about that yesterday, about respecting people and allowing them to feel that they are given the proper respect. So Torah reading was established for the community as a whole and does not apply to each and every individual. So if somebody slept in, he does not have to hear the Torah reading again. Therefore, a person who had to leave in the middle of the Torah reading and missed part of it need not find another minyan in which to make up what he missed, because the important thing is that the congregation fulfill the mitzvah of Torah reading. Someone who has the following two options: to pray in a minyan and leave before Torah reading, or to hear the Torah reading in a minyan but pray individually, it is preferable that he pray in a minyan, because an individual is commanded to pray in a minyan, whereas the mitzvah to read the Torah is a communal commandment and does not pertain to individuals. If you remember, the first paragraph that we talked about Torah reading, we quoted a verse from Joshua where he says, "V'agita bo yomam v'layla," that you should study Torah day and night. And the only reason we do every 3 days is just because we don't want 3 days to pass without. But really, most individuals, even if they can't, stay for Torah reading, they can definitely read the Torah afterwards, or even listen to a Torah class and fulfill the mitzvah of reading the Torah on that day. Someone who has the following two, likewise, even if a person who had to pray individually later discovers a minyan in which the Torah was not yet read, he is not obligated to join them and hear the Torah being read there. So let's say that you went to Netz and then you had to leave, or you missed the Torah reading for some reason. You don't have to go and find another minyan later to fulfill it. If a person arrives late to synagogue and when he is reciting Psukei Hazimra or Birkot Kriyat Shema, congregation starts to read the Torah. If he will have a chance afterwards to hear the Torah reading, he should continue to pray. However, if another opportunity to hear the Torah reading will not arise later, l'chatchila, it is best that he stop praying and listen to the Torah being read. But if he's in the middle of Birkot Kriyat Shema, he must complete that blessing, because otherwise there will be a very long a very long break in the middle of the blessing. If 6 people who prayed individually but did not yet hear the Torah reading assemble in the morning, another 4 people may join them to read the Torah. Even if they only convened in the afternoon, according to many Achronim, they may make up the Torah reading at Mincha, but they are not obligated. However, some disagree and maintain that the Torah may not be read in the afternoon. Nonetheless, in practice, those who wish to make up the Torah reading in the afternoon are permitted to do so, and that is how many prominent Jewish rabbis practiced. And so let's say that there was a funeral early in the morning and you missed the time of Kriyat Shema and Shmoneh Esrei, so you gather together later for Mincha and there was Torah reading that day, then you can do that. Therefore, those who did not have a Torah scroll for Shacharit, such as a minyan of soldiers or travelers, upon arriving at a place in the afternoon with a Torah scroll, may read the Torah and make up what they missed. So just one more comment about this. When we arrived in Toronto on Sunday, for some strange reason, the pilot got on and said that we need to circle Lake Ontario a few times, and so I missed being able to say Shacharis completely. So at Mincha, I davened first with the Yeshiva, and then went to the minyan here for the supplemental davening, just like we learned that you're allowed to supplement for Shacharit when it was beyond your control, and that's when I wore the tefillin. So the same thing is about the Torah scroll, and when we get to Shabbat, again, we will talk about Torah reading, and so just heads up, when they had the first Gulf War, there were congregations that missed Shabbat because of alarms and stuff like that, sirens, and so there was an opinion that if it's just one Shabbat, then the next Shabbat, when you do get together to read 2 parashot, and there was a lot of discussion about that, because it is indeed an obligation of the community, and nobody that Shabbat anywhere in the city of Beersheba was able to read the Torah, so a lot of communities the next Shabbat, even though it made davening a little bit longer, they read both parashot. So I'll just end with that and open up for questions.